Yeah, I think the issue of the JZ factor, we have all considered that what has happened is that there was a new player in the game in the form of MKP, and the player has actually taken from even our own support base. And how it has also been projected requires the ANC not to just take it simply and say people walked away from the ANC. We have to have a better understanding the character of the province where there's dominance of the votes coming from there. Secondly, we have to also appreciate the fact that we had different messages and messages that also might have even misled the voter of an ANC of Cyril Ramaphosa and the leadership of Mr. Zuma trying to sort out the African National Congress. And as we speak now, there is also an effort on our side to go back and have a better understanding, and hence one of the things that I'm raising about a project that was manipulated to garner votes under the guise of ensuring that you have the support so that you come and sort out the ANC. Secondly, the issues about how we're going to rebuild KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng. We are in the first NEC. Deliberations are going on. We will put together programs, and the immediate people that will have to get that report about how we're going to rebuild and repurpose ourselves and be located amongst the masses of our people in Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, and everywhere in the country. Will go to our structures. It will start first with the issues around the membership of the African National Congress, political education, conscientization of members so that then they are capable to lead in the communities where they live. And of importance also, ensuring that we build an organization that attracts activists. Activists who will remain rooted in the communities, be responsive in terms of dealing with issues, and most importantly, ensure that those that lead or serve the African National Congress are capable to provide the proper response, but also provide solutions and take our people along as and when there are challenges. Delayed interventions have also been seen to be very suspicious by our constituencies. Your Nasispani, your transformer programs and stuff, the voters will actually say, why now? Why on the 11th hour? And part of what we now have to do is to continue with that work. And I'm sure you have seen, Gauteng is continuing with that kind of work post the elections under the leadership of the chairperson of the African National Congress. So it's one of the lessons we have learned. Whether there's a need to intervene even when it is 4 years and 9 months before the next elections. So you need a responsive government, but we must also sort out our own systems of governance and service delivery across the 3 spheres of government. Because what Gauteng has done is not necessarily their mandate, but they intervened. So we don't now need interventions. We need solutions that incorporate everybody and ensure that those interventions are sustained. So the voter was also a bit suspicious already. What's going to happen after this? You people yourselves, members of the media, you're saying from the 30th there will be load shedding. But I've not seen a headline now that comes where they say, I withdraw my comments and my influence to the voter that before the results are announced, load shedding will be back. You didn't do that. So you are partly to blame because you misled the voter. And thanks that we remain true to our commitment. It's still happening. It must be sorted out. And work that Comrade Sputa is doing, working together with our provinces and our municipalities, must be sustained, as I'm saying, for the period of 5 years, and not only during the time when the date of elections has been set. Some PC has responded on the issue of the understanding. Discussions in any meeting are not actually monolithic. Everybody raises his or her issues. Once a process of engagement is concluded, there's a view that prevails of the organization. Even today, there is that appreciation. And we all know that an arrangement of this nature is very fluid. It can be exploited for the good. It can be exploited to undermine the positive intentions. We as the ANC are duty bound to nurture this. We can't be as reckless as Mrs. Zille. We can't be reckless because it is us who invited people. She was a guest and she remains a guest of the ANC. And if she has any discomfort, she is bound to actually express it, and it is within her right, but not to undermine the collective that is represented in Parliament, majority of political parties that are represented in Parliament, because all of them have got a mandate. And remember, I was with some of you there at the Rock. We all said we embrace the will of the people. And we're working through that will of us having 40% to grow our influence. And we really hope that you'll have an appreciation that the NC has been able to influence more than 9 political parties to work together with us to protect the hard-won gains of our democracy and to shape the way forward. And hence also, we have put the issue of the national dialogue so that we take all South Africans along. The issues about individuals who have erred previously and stuff. Yes, that's why we have put the issue of consequence management and accountability, but will not be going on in witch hunt. Government must have its own capacity of oversight, monitoring and evaluation, and we will not want to play the man. Remember the president's speech in Parliament. We're not playing the man, we're playing the ball. Whatever that has happened, that has to be sorted out and be fixed rather than going on a witch hunt. We never go to battle and expect that we're going to come back having lost. It was disappointing. It was very, very unfortunate. But because we have a responsibility, we had to keep our heads high and ensure that we don't disappoint the 6 million that voted for us. Because we can't cry and even tear ourselves apart when there is a significant number of voters that have actually voted for us. So we never expected this decline. That's why we're looking at it even going forward, not only ending in this NEC meeting. We have put recommendations to this NEC about us having a better understanding of the South African electorate. We must look at the South African electorate according to regions, the provinces, but according to demographics, but also according to the different sectors of our society. Women remain consistent as voters. We need to look at the youth voter apathy. We must deal with that. We need to look at the urban vote and have an appreciation. So all those things are now a recommendation that were put there in the National Executive Committee. What is also quite interesting about our laws is that whilst there's an assumption that the numbers that this other party has got, the JZ party, that it has are numbers that come from the NC. They've eaten everywhere. So you have to have that appreciation. There is something that we need to internalize and say, what was the message that made abantu base Denver hostel to shift their vote from the party that historically they voted for, which is not the NC, and vote for the MK party? Those are the things that we need to look at. Is regionalism a reality? Is tribalism a factor? Is the issue of culture also creeping into the political dynamics of this country? We all have to look at those issues and be able to look at them differently. Fortunately, I have my own relatives in KwaZulu-Natal that in the discourse, you have an appreciation of how did they end up being where they are? Because of all these factors that I'm raising, that we need to look at. Any repercussions on who are not even near discussions of Ukuthi kushaywa bani. Where we are now is what happened, and once we have that understanding, we then go out and engage with everybody, self-correct where there has to be self-correction, strengthen, but ensure that you do not first start by saying, Mabahambe. We're not a Mabahambe party. What we are here about is about regaining what Mdu has said. The first time we have this, how do we reposition ourselves, but also what kind of different messages we're taking to different communities? What the voter is not just excited about 1912. The voter in each and every corner has got his or her own different issues that he or she is interested in. What you've raised, Samkelo, I appreciate that you studied the results very well. You give us the space. We will come back about the issues of Northern Cape and stuff. Hence, we're saying we are going to, this is the beginning of the work that we're putting before the NEC to say, allow us to go and work with the Department of Organizational Building, with political education, together with elections, as well as the structures of the ANC, to have a full appreciation of the developments. I mean, the Western Cape, you have seen the emergence of the Patriotic Alliance, Al-Jamaa, your experience of Uppington and so forth. Hence, I'm saying there are many factors that are beginning to characterize the voting patterns. Culture, location of the voter, the issues around Shangana Zulu, the issues about so many other things.
National Colored Congress.
Yes, the National Colored Congress. Have you ever thought that we'll have a National Colored Congress 30 years down the line? So it is something, especially for the political reporters, you journalists, that you also have to dive deeper like we are doing to understand these elections. They can't be evaluated over, we're now only 24 hours since we started. We've not even concluded, discussions are ensuing. We are going to be walking this journey, with a very thin comb and have an appreciation, but of importance, we don't undermine the 6 million that voted for us. I take full exception to say we're presiding over a carcass, a party that receives 40%, unless the intentions were to actually bury us. And that's part of what we must sort out. 6 million of those who voted, in which is the majority, voted for the ANC. Of course, there were those who went out, and some even in the media, who wanted to see the unveiling of the tombstone of the ANC. It can't happen, and as you say, what are they going to inherit? He's a member of the NEC. Not about what he's going to inherit. He's part of it. He's a member of the NEC. I'm the eldest amongst them here. But I still have a chance of providing leadership and support. And what we are sitting and deliberating on there is that it will not become a carcass in our lifetime. It won't. And what are we going to do? Renewal must be real, must not be subjective. Recruitment of members must go with political education. Making the ANC to be dynamic must be our primary mission. The ANC that gets preoccupied with elections of internal structures must be something of the past. The ANC, a branch of the ANC that is functional must be measured not on the basis of 100 members, but it must be on the basis of its program in the community, with those members of the ANC working in those communities, so that it's not just a door-to-door for the first time in 5 years. The call for an activist-led ANC is the right call now, so that then we don't only go and do door-to-door 3 months before the elections. Who is in charge of Luthuli House? Zille is not in charge of Luthuli House. He can't. She can't. Luthuli House is the house of the African National Congress. Who leads the GNU? The GNU is led by the NC. The NC having invited everybody. We refused to be put together with the DA. We were conscious of the fact that we have a bigger constituency that is represented through Parliament. And that's what we would be working on. What you see in the United States, just give us the space, focus on what you see in South Africa. I wish you could see what is happening in Palestine as well. So that's what we're busy with now, to sort out our national interests first. We are not even near any discussion in the NC about who's going to lead. We have the Ramaphosa, who has been voted for by branches of the NC, who was our face going into the elections. We have learned the hard way. Intentions of wanting to deal with people based on the outcomes of elections has never helped the NC. But it has actually made the NC to be much more weaker. Kasi, whatever was not there that time. So maybe that's why there's an excitement that we are going to see what other people saw over the past terms of presidents. It's not going to happen, not with us. We have learned the hard way.